Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chatting with Campbell on Lee Judges TV. It is the North London Derby special preview, and great to be joined by the two main guys. Lee Judges, how are you, Lee?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Kev. Very good. After a nice 3-0 win yesterday to set us all up for the big game on Sunday.
And Dapper Dan Potts, how are you, Dan?
Oh, Dapper.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm really good. I must say something, right? I look at that thumbnail of Thierry Henry, and I think it ain't far off looking like too much like Lee Judges, is it? You know, when you put the two of them together there, you know, it could be a statue of Lee.
He's in good company, that Henry, and he's in good company.
Well, look, let's take care of some housekeeping. Dan, could you tell us about the sponsors?
Of course I can. Yes, people in the chat, please like, subscribe to this video and get yourself over to Sally's Artwork. Sally's Artwork is going to be our new sponsor. I've already ordered some artwork design. Lee's ordered some artwork design. And get over there because she can personalise anything you want as long as it's Arsenal related. So get yourself over to her socials on Facebook, Sally's Artwork, or on Twitter or Instagram, and take a look at what you can purchase, people. Please go over there because she's an absolutely amazing lady, great sponsor, and you're going to see some of her work behind us very, very soon, and behind Lee Judges by his dartboard there, I believe. So look out for that.
Fantastic, Dan. Well done, well done. Sally's Artwork, everybody. Get stuck in. Go on, Lee. What you got to say?
Before we say anything about Thierry Henry, it's just made me I've got a story about Thierry Henry. Like tomorrow would have been my dad's birthday, but it's the first one since he passed away, and he weren't too well, and so Kevin said I'll give him a bell, so I thought, so Kevin's got on the phone to my dad. And my dad, he's gone, hello, Kevin. And he's gone, hello, Mickey. Right, so he's gone, you was a good player for Arsenal, but you was never no Thierry Henry.
I said, thank you very much, Mr. Judges. I won't be calling you again.
What are you doing? He's phoning you up to see if you're all right. You're going, you was good, but you was no Thierry Henry. You know what I mean?
But that was quality. That was quality.
Yeah, it was quality.
Real quality. So here we are, Lee. Dan, after the first 3 games to now, I remember coming on after there was the international break and stuff, and everyone was talking about Spurs sitting top of the league. Nuno's already gone in there and sorted everything out. What's gone on at Spurs, and are you worried about them? And I'll ask Dan that first.
Well, I'm glad Lee was just about to come in, wasn't he?
Do you know
what? Do you know what? The reason I love this question to start with is because this is just what happens with Tottenham. They never cease to amaze me. Their fans never cease to amaze me. They did this last season, let's not forget. They won the league in November. And then all of a sudden it all went crashing down. And then it didn't matter because Mourinho was never good, even though they were raving about how great he was. Now they've done the same with Nuno, right? So as much as I do think he's an okay manager, to be fair, they don't look good, Kev. They don't look good. And I watched them against Palace. I watched them against Chelsea. And I didn't see the game last night, but I heard they were pretty terrible and quite lucky because Wolves couldn't take penalties. But I tell you what, this is a good time to play Spurs. I'll tell you that now. So they're a team that I think have done the wrong thing in keeping Harry Kane. And I know we'll probably get onto that later. Yeah. But I think that we're looking now at a team that everybody was raving about because they were top winning their first 3 games. And they've just got battered by Chelsea and Palace and scraped through against Wolves on penalty in the Carabao Cup. I think it's a good time to play them. Now, I'm not getting overconfident because it's a North London derby. Form goes out the window. Anything can happen. I'm always nervous. But this is a good time to play Tottenham Hotspur, in my opinion.
Lee, that's good. Well said, Dan. What do you think, Lee? Obviously, to start with, they were riding high, wasn't they? And obviously now the tables have turned a bit. And do you have any concerns?
Well, yeah, I think you've always got to have concerns with them because I think with I'm with Dan on that. They're not playing particularly well, but they have 2 world-class players, and
they carry a threat, don't they?
Yeah, and they carry a threat, and even though they're playing poorly, they've got they've got them too. I've got a theory about Harry Kane, by the way. I don't know if you want to know it,
Yeah,
that,
go on. Why not, Lee? Let's hear it.
yeah, I think he's gone into midfield, because he's dropped into midfield because, as a midfield player, the transfer fee's not so dear. So I think he's going in there
I tell you,
trying
that's good thinking, that, Lee.
yeah. So I think he's trying to get his transfer fee down.
Cheaper,
What I mean? So
I'll tell you what, that is
getting
class,
himself
Lee. I
cheaper.
love that. That's
So,
class.
I think that he could be trying that move, because he couldn't get away any of us. So I tell you, he'll be playing right back tomorrow, Sunday. I see that, you know what I mean? So, so I think that with that, with even though that they're not as good as good. So listen, I think both teams are not in great shape. Let's be honest, you know what I mean. But
100%, yeah.
But they do carry, as you just said, Kevin, that threat with those two players. But ultimately, we are getting a little bit better. People say that. So I watched the game yesterday, because it wasn't. It was a comfortable game. I thought I'm going to just really look at the shape and what he does. When Arsenal lost the ball, even with against Wimbledon, the two wide players get back behind the ball as quickly as they can. They get behind the ball. Not so much Lacazette, but the other two get behind the ball as quickly as possible. So I'm really defending it to a shape and everything like that. Now, they were doing that against Wimbledon. So it's obviously that it's being drilled into them against teams as well, And, I sort of said, I get what they're doing. I like that. But I don't really want to see it against teams like Wimbledon. And I don't want to see it against teams like... the small teams, but hopefully, I can see what they're trying to do when they come up against bigger opposition. And people turn around and say, "Oh, no, what happened to Man City and Chelsea?" That we got stuffed by them, But this is a different back four now. This is a different team now to what we see before
Early
the international
doors.
break. Early doors. So I can see what they're saying. And when George Graham was at Arsenal, he kept drilling the back four. I think he's doing that. And eventually, I think that once he gets that sorted and shape, then he can work on the attacking side. So I don't think you're going to see Arsenal for a few weeks at least until they get that shape and defending side right. That's what he's going to be working on, and then perhaps to look to go for the attacking side. So I do see certain things now what he's trying to do, but it's still not what you want to watch and whatever, And the interesting thing for me going into Sunday's game is the midfield. Does he go with two holding midfield players, or does he go the expansive way? And I think that's going to be the key, Kev. What happens in that midfield?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point, Lee. And you take me on to another point I want to make is who starts? Because let's go throughout the team, and if you wanna, we could start in that midfield, Lee, because there's times where at Burnley, Partey played on his own, and obviously Sambi and Maitland-Niles came on, after a certain amount of time to relieve him and to kind of lock the shop up.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts, Lee, on our midfield for Sunday?
I would go with this. I because we're at home. This is what I personally do. I don't think that he will, but I would go with Partey as the holding midfield player, Odegaard and Smith Rowe. That's what I would do. I think that we've got to try and be a little bit more expansive in there. Try and I think knock the balls in and around them. I don't think like the quick pace of Odegaard and Smith Rowe. I think they struggle in that area. They're free. Skip, I think will be Skip. On Dembele, whatever his name is, and Højbjerg. So that'd be their free. So I think that we could match them up, but I think we've got to, as we're the home side, try and not overpower them, but play through them.
Outmaneuver them.
That's a great one. Yeah. Outmaneuver them. I think that's the way to go. So that's the way I would go. And if I'll be honest, I didn't think he'd do that against Burnley. So will he do it against Tottenham? I don't know. So it'd be interesting. But that's the way I would go. But, what would you do? What would you guys do?
Dan, what would you do in our midfield?
So I'm not so sure that Smith Rowe and Erdegaard together works as a kind of two attacking eights, if I'm honest with you. If I'm honest with you, I don't think the front four is working, whatever happens at the moment. It just doesn't seem to be
Yeah.
clicking. I think what I would do is I want to see Partey and Lokonga together. Every time I see Lokonga, I think, how can you drop him? He's been one of the best players. I didn't see the game last night, but apparently he was great again. I know it was against Wimbledon, but every single time, don't matter. I've seen him in an Arsenal shirt. He's been one of our better players. So I think what I'd probably do is I think Erdegaard would come in the number 10 with Partey and Lokonga behind. And then I think Aubameyang remains up front. And then I think you're going to have to see Pepe and Saka. So maybe Smith Rowe does miss out this one. I don't think you can do too much to change what's happening when you're winning football matches. And I'm talking about the league, not last night. The back four stays the same. I think everybody knows what the back four is going to be. And I think Ramsdale comes in goal. So I just have that's what I would do. I just have a nasty feeling Granit Xhaka is going to play in this game. I've just got
Well, that was
going to
be the curveball, Dan. And I'll reach this out to you, Dan. What does it say about Arteta if Granit Xhaka comes straight into the team?
I would be. It's hard for me because I don't want to come across bad because I can't stand this guy, right? I can't stand this guy. I don't like this guy. Since the day that he removed the armband for me, he was done out of the club, and I forgotten out of my memory. And he can't be forgotten out of my memory because the guy absolutely loves him. Yeah, Mikel Arteta has begged him to stay twice. He was gone to Hertha Berlin. He was going to Roma, and he's still an Arsenal player. And we still keep giving him back that armband at times. So I'm frustrated with what the manager's doing. Now that we're seeing a more athletic midfield, and we've got the athleticism, whether it be Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Lokonga and Thomas Partey, although we're not seeing the goals the other end, we're certainly looking so much better, I think anyway, in that centre area of the pitch. So if he's going to go back to Granit Xhaka, he's rewarding bad discipline, ill discipline against Man City by saying, don't worry, you've had your 3 games, you're coming straight back in, don't worry about it. And also, what's he saying to the other guys that maybe deserve that reward, that aren't getting that reward, like Lokonga, even like Maitland-Niles? So I think it would be a real bad move for him, and again, show mismanagement of the player and players. So I think it would be a terrible move. And if he does do it, Kev, on his head be it if it goes wrong. Because that is a managerial problem. Because if he picks Granit Xhaka and it goes wrong, not just in the midfield, but say he does get sent off again, or he messes up, or whatever we've seen Granit Xhaka do over the last 5 years in the Arsenal shirt, that is on Mikel Arteta for selecting him. So I don't think he can select him. I've just got a nasty feeling that he will.
Lee, what's your thoughts on it? Because I know you kind of sit near his family, and you've spoken to him. But this is the North London derby here, and he hasn't played he's had COVID, he hasn't played for a long time so far. So what's
the
your
last
thoughts
time we
on
played was the 28th of August.
Yeah.
So we go on Sunday, I think it's the 26th of September. So it's virtually nearly 4 or 5 weeks. I know he's had a couple of internationals in that, but for the Arsenal, he hasn't played for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that may be a factor, Kev. I think that may be a factor that the manager says, no, maybe on the bench on this one. That's the only thing that I think. I think that if it was like sometimes you can be lucky, can't you? You get sent off and you could be like Saturday, and you're back within 7
week.
days.
It's eaten up in a week.
Eaten up in a week.
Yeah.
So this one for has gone on for a lot. And I think that may be just against him, I think someone said in the chat the other day, which was a great point, on one of his things when he turned around and said that he's changed the midfield every single time. So that tells you that maybe Xhaka's going to come back in. He's not kept the same midfield for these 3 games, which is true. He hasn't. So
he hasn't.
He's left the door ajar for him to come straight back. So no one's sort of been able to, for no fault of their own, dominate the 3 games. You know what I mean? Like Partey obviously will start. I would imagine so anyway. I can't believe that he wouldn't. I think that it was planned that he was going to have 60 minutes yesterday, whatever the result was. So that's really for me looking to get more
minutes in his legs.
Yeah. So I'd be 100% shocked if he doesn't play. I have the feeling that I don't know how you feel. I think that he'll play. I think that Mikel Arteta rates him. And yeah, I think it would be a massive thing on there. I think if you ask most Arsenal fans, and you've got like I don't know £100 on it, to go on it. I think most of them would put it on it that Xhaka will play. Whether they agree with it or not is a different thing. But I think that they'd more or less put their chips on Xhaka playing or not. I would. I think that he'll put him into the team. I do. Whether it's the right decision, listen, as you know as well as anybody
It
that
does.
managers live and die on their decisions.
It does. Sorry, Casey. It does. It does actually depend as well if we're playing 4-2-3-1 or 4-1-2-3. Because if we're going to play with that one holding player, I don't think Granit Xhaka will start. I think it will be Thomas Partey. But if we're going to go with two in there, I think Granit Xhaka comes back in.
For me, Granit Xhaka should be on the bench most because Sambi Lokonga hasn't let anybody down. Dan, you're right.
No.
He's played really well. Played well last night. And fair enough, if he's ahead of Xhaka in the pecking order right now. Xhaka's put himself at the back of the queue as far as I'm concerned. Maitland-Niles, he came in against Norwich at the Wilderness. He done all right. He done all right against Burnley when he came on the pitch. So I think those two more athletic players, and let's be brutally honest here. You have to be athletic against Spurs. Because if you're a plodder, they can play through you. We want to be able to play through them, but they can play through you. And that's where we've been caught the last couple of games where they've beaten us, is where we've been on the attack. We've given the ball away and then they've cut through us. I just think it's a bad look for Mikel Arteta, a real bad look for Mikel Arteta if he brings Xhaka straight in from the Wilderness. I really do. My other point is this, and I'll ask you this, Lee. Was it a mistake playing Thomas Partey for 60 minutes last night? Considering we've got a North London derby.
No. I think I was pleased to see him play for 60 minutes yesterday because what's hindered us over the last couple of games is that we've got two players in the team that can't go 90 minutes, Kev. So we're having to change them instead of tactically changing games. So for me, I think that he needed another 60, 70 minutes in his... and I was delighted to see him come out and play, and get through it. I'm in the camp now where Thomas Partey, he don't need to be wrapped in cotton wool no more. He's got to play 90 minutes. I don't think that he will play 90 minutes tomorrow, by the way. I think that he'll get to 70, 80 minutes in that midfield, and I think that he'll be done, cooked and have to be taken off. But I like what he's doing, and I thought it was the right move yesterday. And, listen, you've always that gamble if he gets injured or whatever, but for me, I was quite pleased to see him out there,
He's
that's
too key a player, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's too key. What's your thoughts on that last night, Dan? Because I know a lot of gooners who were like, what's Partey doing playing? We need him for Sunday.
I was a bit shocked, if I'm honest. I thought Partey and Tierney would be the two that definitely got a rest. But I wanted to actually see not as many changes last night because I wanted some momentum going into the North London derby. So I'd quite like to have seen a similar lineup going forward. But at the back, I wanted Ramsdale in goal to get used to Ben White and Gabriel. I wanted Tomiyasu to be playing. I expected Tavares to be playing. So I wanted to see more at the back of the first team so we could try and gel this defence together, get them used to playing with each other at any period. And then once the job's done, if you want to take some players off, then you can do. As for Thomas Partey, it worked out all right, didn't it? Do you know why? Because he didn't get injured. If he would have got injured, it would have been everyone would have been uproar. Why did he play Thomas Partey? So it's worked out. You have to take risks sometimes. And obviously, from what you hear, if you believe these rumours or not, it came out that Thomas Partey requested to have some minutes because he felt that he needed them. And I think it's, he is our best... Yeah, definitely. He is our best midfielder, Casey. 100% he is. And I just want to read out this super chat, actually, because it links in with it, if that's all right, Kev.
Of course, yeah.
Joseph Connor Golden has donated. Thank you so much, Joseph. He says, hi, Kev. Hi, Lee. Hi, Dan. Do you think that Xhaka and Partey is a good midfield? I don't, he says. But I do rate Thomas Partey a lot, though. KC.
One thing I will say about that partnership is when they got together last season and played in the second half of the season, they done okay. They done okay, but I just think we suffer when we don't have the athleticism beside Thomas Partey. We've seen Lokonga play. We've seen Maitland-Niles play. Dan, you alluded to it. We are a better team when we've got legs in the midfield to get up and down and get around the pitch. We can cover each other. Problem is, if Xhaka gets caught up the pitch, he can't recover. So I think the key is having a partner for Thomas Partey. And we've got Lokonga, we've got Maitland-Niles in there. And I think that's what we've got to go. Either one of them or Thomas Partey plays on his own and we put a Smith Rowe and Odegaard in front.
I don't think that, listen, you know what I mean, that Granit Xhaka's a bad player. Listen, it's not, you know what I mean, but what we've wanted as Arsenal fans, and it's nothing against him, is an upgrade. That's what we've wanted. And one of the biggest thing with Arsenal is, and you know, you see Arteta asking wide players to run and work really hard and chase back and get across the pitch and everything like that. But that's the thing that Granit Xhaka can't do. You know, we need to shut down quick in midfield and things like that. And that's his weakest part of his game. On the ball, I think he's a very, very talented player. You know, he's got a lovely left foot and a range of passing. But ultimately, I just think the Premier League, in my opinion, is just that shade quicker. And, you know, to say international football, you know, I might be wrong, but that's how it looks to me.
Right.
And I just think that he struggled. For me, and I think that probably like he actually looked at it and thought about Roma, you know, as well. I think that he loves it at the Arsenal, don't get me wrong, but I think he just thought to himself that Serie A would suit me better. And I think that it would. So, you know, the Premier League's going to be a frantic game, you know, on Sunday. And that's just the weakness that he's got in his game, in my opinion. But I don't think he's a bad player. I'm for you. I think that we're looking to actually, I don't know, get somebody else in there to partner Partey.
Right now. Yeah. That's Joseph, that's a really good question, actually. Dan, look, at the end of the day, what's your thoughts on that, Dan? Do you think Xhaka and Partey's a good midfield, or do you think Sambi's better, possibly?
Our midfield with Granit Xhaka has never got us into the Champions League, which is apparently where we're supposed to be heading. So I think we've come to the end of that kind of regime. The Granit Xhaka story for me is dead now, and I really wanted him to go to Roma. I would have taken 12, 13 million, I would have. I don't think he's worth much more than that. Everyone said it was an outrage. I don't see him as a midfielder that's worth much more than that. I really don't. I don't think he's that great, you know. I know Lee likes him and thinks he's good on the ball and stuff like that. He doesn't say
Lee
that about
loves him,
Pepe, mate.
apparently.
Doesn't say that
Lee
about
loves him.
Pepe. Doesn't say that about Pepe. Maybe if Pepe gets a seat next to him, he might like him a bit more.
Shots fired!
Across your bow.
Yeah, that's it. But no, in all seriousness, I do think there's some. I'll say this about Granit Xhaka, which is the only positive thing I'm ever going to say about him, because I really don't like the player. But I'll say this: he had his best season in an Arsenal shirt last season, and we came 8th. That says enough for me. So I would like to have seen Basuma come in there alongside Partey.
Yeah.
I didn't think Lokonga was going to be our best signing of the summer, but it seems that he is. So he could be a surprise. I remember we bought Vieira and no one thought he was going to be as good as that. So he could be a surprise. Even if he's half as good as Patrick Vieira, I'll take that. So I think when you look at what we've got in that midfield now, and you've touched on this, and so have I, Casey, when you've got that athleticism and you go back to the sideways and backwards passing, you are going backwards as a club. So I want to see us move forwards as a club now, and I think that is the way forward with Lokonga and Partey. Now, if we believe this new formation of a kind of 4-1-2-3 is the way Arteta wants to go forward, because it's not really a 4-3-3, is it? Because Partey's holding more. I think Odegaard and Smith Rowe sometimes could potentially cancel each other out in that role a bit, so that's why I'm not massive fan of it, but we haven't seen enough of it yet for that to be allowed to blossom. So that could change. I think that would be the way Granit Xhaka stays out of this team, because you can't drop Thomas Partey. So if we're going to see Granit Xhaka in this side, it will be in a 4-2-3-1. If Mikel Arteta's moving away from a 4-2-3-1, which I don't know if he's going to or not against Tottenham, this will show us where Granit Xhaka is in terms of a future at the club. Because for me, he should be behind Thomas Partey and Lokonga now.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout, Dan. Really good shout. But again, Joseph, that was a really good question. Let me ask you this, guys. I don't know if you saw the German journalist came out and said Mikel Arteta said to Leno that he will start in the North London derby. Now, I don't want to go too deep on this one, guys. For me, there is no way in a million years Ramsdale gets dropped. Dan, what's your thoughts on this? And then we'll go to Lee.
I don't believe any of that nonsense. Why would Mikel Arteta tell a goalkeeper, just to let you know, in 3 games' time you're going to play, when he surely doesn't know what his mind should not be on 3 games' time. His mind should be on the game at the time, which I think was Burnley or Norwich or whatever it was,
It was
back
Norwich,
at the time.
yeah, it was Norwich.
Norwich.
Yeah.
So what a load of rubbish that is. I don't believe that nonsense. Aaron Ramsdale, let me say this right now. Scunny came on here and made a great point on Sunday night, and he said, prove me wrong, and that's what I like. He is proving everybody wrong, because he's not just proving people that doubted him, he's proving the people that gave him vile abuse, by the way, on social media wrong as well.
Time.
Big time he is. He's come in, and what I love the most about Aaron Ramsdale, Casey, is the attitude and the mentality. I listened to his interview, and I always do. I listen to him, and I thought, I really like this kid. Yeah. I loved everything he said. I want those goalkeeper guys. I ain't come here to sit on the bench, by the way. I want those goalkeeper guys. And when I get them, I will not let Leno take them off of me. That's what I want to hear. I don't want this nicey approach of, oh, he's a great goalkeeper, Leno. I just want to learn from him and be behind him. None of that. I want to get in there, in that goal, in that jersey, wear those gloves, and I ain't having anyone take them off of me. Yeah. I'm number one. And he's proven at the moment that he can't be dropped. He hasn't proven that he's going to be the next David Seaman by any means, but he's certainly proven, without conceding a goal yet, by the way, that he can have a future at this club. So I'm a big fan of what I'm seeing from this lad. And Leno, let's remember, Casey, wants to leave, we are being told, right? Yes. He doesn't want a long-term future of the club. So in the summer, it looks like he could be going back to Germany. So I want Aaron Ramsdale in goal, please. I don't want Leno, who's going to be gone in the summer. I want him to grow and build and develop now as a goalkeeper at number 1 for Arsenal. And I've been fairly impressed with not just what I've seen of him on the ball with his distribution. I think his distribution's better than Leno. He looks actually fairly commanding. And to do that against Burnley, you've got to be a good goalkeeper to be commanding against Burnley, because you know how they play. I've been impressed. I can't say I haven't been. I wasn't. I was underwhelmed with the signing because I thought we spent a lot of money for a young goalkeeper. He's impressed me, and that's what I want him to keep doing.
Fantastic. Lee, what's your thoughts on that whole situation? Because it was mad then. Isn't it?
I don't think that's true. I really don't. And if it did plan out that way, you'd have to question Arteta more than anything, and the man management of things. You know what I mean? But you make decisions, and you know what it's like. You've got to stand by them. That's you live and die by your decisions, and ultimately, I think it's difficult for the goalkeeping situation, because if you're a forward, you could perhaps play 2 up there, or your wide play, you can swap him over to the right, to the left, and in midfield and things like that. But a goalkeeper, there's no swapping about. You have to choose, and that's it. And Mikel, I think, has really been criticised once for not really doing that with the Martinez and Leno one, and then he did make it. And so I think now that he's sort of put his nail to the mast with Ramsdale by playing him in those couple of games, And I'm going to be really honest about it. I don't think that Leno done anything wrong in the Man City game when he conceded 5 goals to get dropped. I didn't think he was that. I didn't think it was his fault. But ultimately, if you look at that game, Chambers hasn't had no minutes since then, nor has Kolasinac, and nor has Leno. So Amari got some minutes this week. Last night. So if you are making mistakes, you're going to be accountable for them now, right? And I thought it was a little bit harsh, but ultimately, I'm quite enjoying what I'm seeing with Ramsdale, if I'll be honest. Again, like everything else, he needs. I'm not going to judge him yet, because I think there needs some more time. But ultimately, I think all the signings, by the way, have all come in and done particularly well. I think all done. The one that's perhaps not quite got over a 6 out of 10 yet. He's our biggest one in Ben White, but all the others have shown really good starts to their career.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Lee, here's the funny thing about defenders, right? If you're keeping clean sheets and you haven't hit your top stride yet, I tell you've got to be doing something right. Because let me tell you something, I know the back pass and all that kind of thing last week, but as a unit, and we spoke about it last week about that test at Burnley, that they're going to get tested at Burnley big time. And I thought they handled it. I thought Gabriel was immense.
Yeah, he passed, didn't he, Gabriel?
He was unbelievable. Ramsdale, I said, we need to see him be command his box. And one thing that I've got to give Ramsdale some real credit for is his vocal. He is so vocal to his defenders. So we've seen Tomiyasu, who, remember we've been talking about signing practical players that can do their job. Well, that guy could do his job. He gets on the right-hand side, and McNeil's a really good player for Burnley. He's probably going to be sold in the next summer, to a bigger club. He kept him fairly quiet for the game. Gabriel was immense. Ben White's had his struggles, but I don't think he was as bad as a lot of people make out. He was crap. He weren't crap.
No.
Tierney didn't have a great game, but they were maybe 6 out of 10, 5 or 6 out of 10. But Gabriel and Tomiyasu were good, and it might be Ben White and Tierney this week.
Yeah.
So again, that back four, or back five, should I say, is starting to look a lot more solid. But let's move on to our strikers or our attack, guys. Which three play for you, or what would you do in attack? Because it hasn't been gelling, really, has it? I'll ask you that, Lee, first.
No, I'm not going to say it. I'm going to stick with the same three. I'm going to stick with the same three. I think it's only fair that you have a few games. They've had the net front three. It's not clicked at the moment, but they need. You can't just say, "Oh, after a couple of games, right? You've not scored. We're going to let you go." I think that they need to perform. Pepe and Aubameyang and Xhaka. I thought Xhaka, by the way, when he came on yesterday for a little cameo, was superb. But ultimately, he hasn't performed quite as well. But for me, I'd go with all three again. And I'm really now looking into the eyes of Aubameyang and Pepe and saying to them, right, you've got to step up now. Really, this is it now. You've got to step up in this North London derby, and then you've got to step up against Brighton as well. And because they've got the ability, I criticise Pepe because he's good. If he wasn't any good, I never criticise El Neni. I always say El Neni does a job because that's what he does and all that lot. But I expect more from Pepe. Not about the transfer fee. I see his ability, Kev. I see what he can do when he collects the ball. I want to see more. I want to also see him on the left-hand side at times. I do want to see him doing that. You know
Switch.
what I mean? Like,
do you reckon him and Saka should switch?
I think they should.
A bit more.
I do. I think they should switch more regularly, give him a little bit more time in there. Because I think as Pepe is, for me, as good as he is, a little bit predictable. Just realistically, if I'll be honest, I think our whole attacking options are a little bit predictable at the moment. And I think we need to just shake it up a little bit. So maybe to just tinker with the positions a little bit. I don't know. But for me, Martinelli proved what he could do on the right-hand side yesterday and looked sharp. I'm not, the end of the day, they played Wimbledon yesterday, but he looked sharp. He looked direct. He looks like he's up for it. So seriously, I think that if you was Pepe and he was sitting up in the stands yesterday, he's got competition in that place, Kev. He knows that there's competition for him. So he cannot continue to be playing mediocre. He's got to step up. And it's the same for Aubameyang yesterday. Lacazette held that play, was good yesterday, scored the penalty, so done a good enough job. Again, people are going to say it's Wimbledon, but ultimately they've got to put pressure on these guys to make them false. And I think that is it cannot continue us being lacklustre, making the wrong decisions, not taking our chances with these front three. And I think it's a massive game for Aubameyang, this one. I think that this is where he has to turn up. Don't forget last season he wasn't involved in the North London derby because he was
turned up
late.
late.
He didn't turn up late. And so this is a game for him now to really nail it home for me. And if anybody's going to do it, I think that it will be him. And he needs to, Kev. He needs to.
Dan, what about the front boys for you? What's your thoughts on them?
I'm similar to Lee. I want to see
more time.
Yeah, I'm similar to Lee. I want to see Pepe on the left. Saka, I think, gives us more balance on the right hand side, and Aubameyang is looking sharp. I can't say, he is looking sharp. I know a lot of people are saying that it was frustrating and he's missing some chances or missing. His movement's still there. His pace is still there. I've never thought his pace had gone. I've said that all season. I can see him. He looks sharp. I've got to see that front three working, as in not harder, but delivering and scoring goals. Because the creativity at times has been lax because of that final ball. We saw it against Burnley. There was 5 or 6 chances. I think they all had a chance, actually, of threading that ball through, and they messed it up. Pepe's was behind.
Wasn't it?
It was awful. Pepe's was behind Smith-Rowe. Smith-Rowe's was behind Pepe's. Pepe through to Aubameyang. Aubameyang through to Pepe. It just was all never working for me. So that front three for me needs to start working. Like Lee says, there is competition for places. But I do question if this style is not suiting them. I wonder if there's a style issue here or lack of style issue because something's not quite right going forward, Kev. I don't know what it is. I can't see what it is personally. But I don't see where we're trying to go with it. I'd like to see a lot more expression and a lot more flair, a lot more drive, and I'm not really seeing that at the moment. I'm seeing it break down with either a bad final ball, which again is not the manager's fault, but I do think there's potentially not a style there that I'm seeing that's quite attack-minded. I'm not seeing enough off-the-ball pressure at the moment. I'm seeing it just in glimpses. I'm not seeing enough of this lovely passing that I love to see of kind of 1-2s and triangles and stuff like that. I'm not seeing enough of that. I'm just seeing glimpses. And I've been told before, can you not see what Arteta's trying to do? And my answer is no, because I can only see parts of it. I can't see, do you know what? I've seen for 90 minutes there, this is his way forward. This is his formation, this is his team, and this is his style. Because there's different formations, there's different players, there's different subs, and there's different style of play. So I can't really see something consistently at the moment. And that's my biggest worry, personally, going into this fixture, is not what we're going to do at the back. Because everyone says, we're solid. That's fine. But if you're only solid and you're not going to score, it might mean you're not going to lose, but it doesn't mean you're going to win. You need to score goals to win football matches, and we're not scoring enough of them at the moment. Doesn't matter that we put 6 past West Brom's under 18s and 3 past Wimbledon. What matters is what we do against teams like Spurs, Brentford, Man City and Chelsea, and we've struggled to score against all of those. Obviously now we've got Tottenham in the North London derby, and let's hope we get a few past them, because we need them badly, mate. And as just lastly for Pepe, I honestly believe, and I know Lee gets frustrated with him, and at times I do, trust me. But the reason I like this kid is because he is still the most threatening player going forward. Every time someone goes forward, it is him that looks like creating something. More than Smith-Rowe, Saka, or even Aubameyang, Ødegaard at times, because he drives at defenders. And he is, I tell you, the defence against Norwich and Burnley would have been going, oh my God, I don't like playing against Pepe. But they wouldn't have said that against the others. They would have said, I knew what was happening with the others. I did not want to have that kid running at me because I didn't know what way he was going to go, because he can use both feet and he's dangerous. So that's why I like Pepe, because he looks like he's going to make something happen. But doesn't give him the excuse like the others. He has to put the ball in the back of the net, mate.
Yeah, I look at the top end of the pitch, and is there a super chat, Dan?
Yeah, there is. Sorry, man. I feel like I've missed one. Scott Borg, my apologies. There is a super chat. I feel much calmer with Ramsdale in goal, he says, at the back. More vocal and calmer on the ball. Big ups to you guys for a brilliant show so far. Come on, you Gunners.
Oh, thanks, Scott. Thank you so much. Here's one thing I want to say about the top end of the pitch. We know that the players at the top end of the pitch for Arsenal have quality. They do possess the quality. And a bad pass or the pass the wrong side is down to them, right? It's down to them to. They're the ones who have to really work on it to get it right. I mean, there was a couple of breaks against Burnley that I thought, soon as it opened up, just give him the ball. But they hold on to it a little bit too long, or they pass it the wrong side, and it kills the momentum. So I think it's definitely something that our front boys have to work on. Because you know what? The moment we get the second goal, and then the third goal, we're up and running, guys. But just having that one goal, it's always we're on tenterhooks, aren't we? We're always on tenterhooks because when you have a one-goal lead, it's a lot of pressure on the back four and the goalkeeper to be able to keep the opposition out. And with Laka, Saka, Pepe, Odegaard, Martinelli, you look at the Smith Rowe, we should be doing a lot better at the top end of the pitch, guys.
Yeah,
Regardless of what the system is, those players have to deliver. I always say it's about production. It's about what you do. If you're picked, you have to produce the goods, because that lot at the back, they're the spoilers. They're the ones who stop the opposition. You've got to be the creators. You're the ones who take the chances at the top end of the pitch, and we haven't been anywhere near the quality that we should be. So, guys, in the bigger picture, how big a North London derby is this now, considering where we were to where we are now? Whoa. And I'll go with Potsy on this one.
Go on, Potsy.
Listen, this is always a massive game, but the reason that I think it's so big at the moment is because we're both in situations where we could be very similar after this game. And what I mean by that is we lost the first 3 games and we bombed out, and I thought the manager should have gone, right? And I stand by it, and I do think the manager will go eventually. It'll be a matter of time when he goes. But I'm not caring about that at the moment because I want to win this game. Yeah. The reason I want to win this game is not just because obviously it's the North London derby, but it gets the momentum going and it proves that we have got nothing to worry about when Spurs start laughing at us, because they're going to be in exactly the same position as us. And I know that it shouldn't matter by that, but it does get to you. These Spurs fans are hilariously funny, right? They start getting very, very excited, start shouting, get very funny, and then all of a sudden they're in exactly the same position as us. That's why I want to beat them, Kev, because they won their first 3 games, and if they lose their next 3, then I'll be laughing. Because I tell you what, they have got nothing to smile about if they're in the same position that we were apparently being embarrassed about. So that's why this game is massive. And also I think why it's so big is because it will give us a test of where we actually are now that we've got our team back and the Edu's come out, done this interview. Arteta's sticking with the faith for these players. It's a young project. It will start to see if this is working or not. I personally don't have faith in the manager, and I've said enough about that. And I've just stopped going on about it now because it's getting boring even for me. So I want to see us win football games, and I do not and I will not accept losing this game. So this is massive.
Lee, what's your thoughts on, in the context, where we were and where we are now, the North London derby?
I think it's massive. I think it's a massive game because obviously, like we didn't get the start that we needed, and then we've also said, like, for Arsenal to get on a run, that we need to win some games. We've done that against Norwich and Burnley, but ultimately this is the first real big test. I know you can say about it, but I think Burnley was a test. I'll be honest, away from home to Burnley was a test, but it's a test that I expected us to get through, and which we did. This one's a completely different test. That these games are different. I'm going to ask you the question in a minute. I don't look forward to this game. I'll be honest, because it's like
going
so
to the
much
dentist,
riding on it, isn't
like
there?
going to the dentist, yeah.
It is like going to the dentist. I don't like because there's too much riding on it to a certain defeat if we lose. You know what I mean? Like, now, if we win, it's fantastic. It's the the knowing that you can lose, and I just don't like the game. Do you know when we play these games? And we've got the ball and we're attacking. I don't care whether we score from it. All I'm thinking is, well, they ain't going to score. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's, every time they go forward, I just don't like the game. I don't enjoy it. And it is a completely different game to say that, like we lost to Chelsea. I don't like losing to Chelsea, but I know I ain't going to get it in my ear for 10 days or whatever. So that's why it's great. But then I remember talking to my dad about this back years ago. When Spurs got relegated, I thought I'd get that in there. When they got relegated, all the Arsenal fans were great that they got relegated, but the following year they didn't have the Arsenal and Spurs game, and they missed it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So they wanted Spurs to come back up because they wanted the Arsenal Spurs derby game. You know what I mean? So you can't live with them, can't live without them, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So it is a great game. Listen, we're talking about because a few people have. I think there was even a super chat saying about it. From a fan's point, what's it like from a player's point of view? I think there is a super chat in there, Dan.
Dan?
Yeah, there is. I'll read it out because it is very similar to that, actually. So it's a kind donation from TAVFC. Thank you so much. It says, Kev, how did you focus as a footballer on playing the game for big occasions like the North London derby in your playing days?
Well, for me, it was always, especially at Arsenal, was your attitude was always right in training and in your preparation, because you know what to do, you know how to win games, but there's extra spice on this one, isn't there? There's an extra feeling there for the fan base. There's extra pressure because it's that lot down the road. But as a player, you can't get taken in by all that. What you have to do is concentrate, do your work, know your opponent, know your game plan, and stick to your game plan, go out there and execute it. And that's why I speak about the back four being solid, midfield, us doing well in there, and the front boys have to connect, they have to play better, they have to be productive, because that's your job. That is what you're at Arsenal to do. And get over the line. I'll take a 1-0 to the Arsenal all day long. I will take a 1-0 to the Arsenal. Performance doesn't matter, does it? It's all about winning in these games. And if you're going to win these games, your attitude has to be right. So it's all about your attitude and your focus.
I'll ask a question. If you could come back from retirement and play in one game, would it be a North London derby, or would it be against the Arsenal-Liverpool games when we was battling for the title for them, or Arsenal-Man United? What game would you say that's the game? That's the game I live for. That's the one.
You got to remember back in the day, the big game was Liverpool.
Yeah, it was Liverpool, exactly. Yeah.
When I was at Arsenal, the big game was Liverpool. But I can't look past the North London derby, Lee. The North London derby, there is so much riding on it.
Yeah.
There is so much riding on it, and the rivalry, I've had the worst pain as a footballer losing to them. And I've had great pain, loving it, sticking it up them, Lee, when we beat them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, you can't live with them, you can't live without them. It's a love-hate thing. And because it's such fine margins, to beat them, it makes you walk a bit taller, doesn't it? You feel so much better. Go on.
Like when you say like you'd beaten them at Highbury or you'd beaten them at White Hart Lane, and you're walking off the pitch, like was there that well done stuff, or was there that I don't want to shake his hand because it's Spurs or whatever, or was there competitive, but there was a
listen, there's one thing I can honestly say, and listen, you didn't always get on with certain players. Of course you don't. It's a game of football, and you might battle, but once that whistle goes, win, lose or draw, you shake hands, and we're the classy club. Remember, we're the Arsenal, so we shake hands. You pat them on the back, you tell them all the best, and you get in that dressing room. Win, lose, or draw. Because you know what, Lee? You're going to see them again. You're always going to see these players again. And if you've had a good game, bad game, indifferent game, you know you can get them next time. That's what happened in my most painful game I ever played was the semi-final.
That's why I've never. That is the most painful I've ever felt
Most painful. Yeah.
as an Arsenal fan. That
And
semi-final.
for a player,
Yeah.
I still remember what it felt like in the dressing room after the game.
Do you know,
Still to this day.
and that's why I'm like I am with the Arsenal games now. I learnt my lesson because I was cocky that day. I thought like we were by far the better team. You know what I mean? They were, you know, we just had to turn up and win that game. And for whatever reason, it didn't happen for us. And there's certain things went against us. You know, you hit the bar, didn't you? I think if we had gone in, we might have.
We beat them.
You would have turned
we
it around.
pegged them back to 2 each. We beat them.
Yeah, we beat them.
We just couldn't get it.
Just couldn't get it, and it was tough. You know what I mean? But as I say, we are lucky, us Arsenal fans, that we only had to wait 2 years for that. You know what I mean? We could have waited a lifetime on it, and from then on, you know, every other semi-final they've only beaten us on that one occasion on the semi-final, apart from the League Cup when we put out a weak side when it changed. You know what I mean? So, so that's and that hurt. You know, so and it's nice. It is nice and comforting to know that the Arsenal players were feeling the pain that we was as well that day.
Pain, Lee. No, it was more than pain, mate. It was more than pain. Because I remember after the game, it was just pure silence. And George Graham in the dressing room said, listen, guys, because you could hear them celebrating.
That's the worst.
And that is the worst. He said, just listen. He said, you're all good lads. We win together and we lose together. But just listen to that because you're going to get your chance. You're going to get your chance. And a couple of years later, Lee, we got our chance.
Yeah, we got our chance.
And we took it 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, lovely.
And you know, that made it all the better because you've gone through that pain as fans and players. And I'm an Arsenal fan who played, so it was double for me. You know, it was like, oh my God, it was painful, but to get over the line against them is always special. To beat them is always special. And we could definitely beat them this weekend. Right, what's your prediction? Dan, what's your prediction for the North London derby?
So my head is saying 1-1, but my heart's going 2-1. I always go with my head, but not for a North London derby. I always go with my heart. So I'm going 2-1 Arsenal win. I just got to. I can't accept anything but a win in this game, KC. So I'm going to have to just go with what I want to happen, not what I think will happen this time. So I'm going 2-1 to the Arsenal, mate.
Cool. Lee?
Yeah, I'm going to go the same. I just think that we'll nick it 2-1. I think Spurs will score. You know, we know who's going to score as well. Like, you know, from his
mention
midfield.
No names, yeah. Mention no names.
Their new midfield player is going to, like, you know what I mean. Yeah. So, but I think that we're defensively a little bit more sound, and I think that we just nick it. It'd be a tough game. And listen, I'm going to have a few beers before, during, and afterwards. Like, you know what I mean.
Love that, Lee. Listen, it's a full house because I said before on the Highbury squad, I think Arsenal are going to win the game 2-1. But I also wouldn't mind a 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, I love a 1-0. I'd like a 5-0.
Yeah, well, I'd like that better. 100%, Lee. Dan, do we have a super chat?
Yes, we do have a couple of super chats have come in. Che Tanya, thank you for your kind donation. He says, my concern is still us not scoring goals and creating chances. I think Xhaka will start as well. I don't want him to, though. And he says, cheers, Lee and Dan. And then the next one is, Big Kev is a proper gooner. It's from round one, but thanks for your kind donation. Big Kev's a proper gooner, such a brilliant representative of Arsenal, connects with the fans, and he's not just riding the gravy train like Parler and Wrighty. I won't go into that bit, but do you know what? Two very nice super chats there, to be honest with you, KC. Granit Xhaka mentioned again, everyone's worried about that, but of course scoring goals or lack of is something that is worrying everybody, but got to be positive going into this one, I tell you that.
Definitely. Listen, I honestly believe the Arsenal fan base are in such a much better place now than we were in the last international break, weren't we? 0 points, no goals, no wins. It looked really bleak for us. So it's great that we're here. But this is the acid test for Arsenal now. Local rivals coming to our manor, coming to our patch. You beat these, and for me, the bigger picture is now the likes of Tomiyasu and Ben White and that start to feel a part of the furniture a little bit more. When you beat your rivals, if you can't get over the line against your rivals, that's a step that they have to take. Best take it now. Take it now.
I'll tell you, just a lovely little super chat coming in here from Judy. In a world full of egos, it's nice to see three classy gents being down to earth. Love from the tune. So, or the tune, should I say? Like, good luck for the weekend. That's good luck because I hope Newcastle.
Lovely place, lovely part of the world. I was up there the other day.
Big club.
I was up there watching my boy on Monday. His second game back, against Newcastle in the under-23s. So
he scored. He scored.
He scored. Yeah, they won 3-2. Great to, he felt nothing of his injury or anything. So
fantastic.
Fingers crossed, touch wood, and all that kind of thing. That he's nearly back now. And thanks for that, Judy. And
that's lovely.
Listen, we're coming to the end of it now, Dan. So do you want to tell us about the sponsor again, Dan?
Yeah, sure. A couple of things to remind you of just before we do come to a close. Back to KC. There's 862 people watching live. Amazing numbers. Make sure you please smash the like button and hit the subscribe button. And please go and check out Sally's artwork. Sally's artwork is going to be our sponsor. We're going to be buying some of her designs. It's all Arsenal related, personalised. It can have your name or anything that you'd like on it. It could be a family thing. It can be a name thing. It can be any shirt number, any shirt name that you want. Or there's a lot of Arsenal memorabilia as well that she can do for you. So go check her out on Facebook and Instagram, Sally's artwork. And head straight over after this video. Stay tuned, because there's going to be something really special with lead judges for a North London derby special at 10:15. So don't go anywhere. Stay on this channel because it will be worth it. Trust me. Cheers, Kev.
Lee, can you give us a little insight?
Well, I just said a little bit about the Arsenal day, and also we had a little me and Skegginess Dave. We had a little go around Highbury as well, so we've got that coming out as another video of walking around Highbury.
Fantastic.
Doing the Highbury run as I did as a youngster and all that. Like, and obviously, like you turn left instead of you turn right now instead of left. But we turned left today, and that was really good. So we've got that coming up soon. But just talking about the Arsenal Tottenham game, and I was sitting next to a fantastic fella. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Well, listen, that's a great point to finish the show on, Lee. Lee, I can't thank you enough, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks you, Kev. Great to have the insight about the Arsenal in those days as well. Brilliant. And
all the fans, all the guys who have put the super chats in, and the ladies, thanks for joining us. And we will see you hopefully next week after an Arsenal victory in the North London derby.
Come on,
you gunners! Come on. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Good night.